My name is Kayla Bryant, and I attended the Panama Buena Vista Union School District board meeting in the boardroom at 4200 Ash Road in Bakersfield. This district covers elementary and middle school grades kindergarten through 8th grade. Keith Wooldridge is the board president, along with Dr. Dean Haddock, Greg White, John Blake, and Anna Rojas, for a total of 5 elected board members. They meet on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month, usually in the boardroom. They talk about new priorities and strategies geared towards technology and English language learners. They give staff reports. For example, they talked about the timeline for casting and recruitment and went over HR's projects and goals. They also give an update on numbers such as new staff being hired and how many teaching positions are still empty. The numbers were pretty shocking. They said that there's still about 240 empty seats, but luckily there's enough substitute teachers to cover that. They addressed different programs like AVID and Lexia Core 5 Reading. The format was pretty simple, with the agenda just going down the list of that printed prompt. They also had it on the screen so everybody else in there could see it. The board went through the topics, either further addressing them or kind of passing through them, but mentioning them. The areas that I found interesting were the way they recognized the staff and the students during the awards, and also just the way that they talked about possible techniques and tools that they could use in the classroom, like using thinking maps to build and how to build a positive classroom culture. The reason I really liked the student awards, which they did at the beginning before they really got down to the business stuff, was because they were really nice about recognizing just the students. And there was Anna Rojas is actually leaving them. She just found another line of work, but they said that she worked there for 4 years, and she was one of the trustees. It was really nice because they gave her many thanks. They had a bouquet of flowers, and they recognized her accomplishments. One thing that I found really impressive and interesting was that they mentioned she was the first female Hispanic woman to be a trustee on their board in the last 100 years. So that's really amazing, and they honored her for that, and I thought that was really sweet. There was a ton of parents there at the beginning because they were giving away awards for the Actus Junior High 8th and 7th graders and the Warren Junior High 8th and 7th graders, boys and girls team. When they were giving those out, they had the coaches come up and talk to the kids, and that was just sweet. It was an interesting experience because it was professional but friendly. I feel like if anybody in the audience or, the viewers or listeners had any questions, that it would be welcomed. And they actually cracked a few jokes, and I went in there all prepared in a blazer, but the atmosphere was actually really laid back as far as who watches the board meeting. Of course, all the board members were dressed really professionally and, of course, talked about this stuff professionally, but just seemed like they had a really positive attitude and like they really cared about the kids and what they were ready to prepare for next. When they showed they showed a slideshow about this thing called Snapshot. It was geared towards Van Horn Elementary. It identified the goals for assessments and instruction. It was Lisa Beasley talking about it, and there was a quote she said that said, "Where hearts and minds can become the best they can be." And they just talked about all the goals that they had for these kids and just how much they put their hearts in it for these kids, and they just seem like they would be a pleasant group to work with, and like they really have their head in the game for students and not really any agenda. The Human Resources Staff Report, also, they went over some stuff, just for example, for a few of the things they went over. Superintendent Daryl Johnson went over this, and he showed another slideshow, It was the timeline schedule for casting and recruitment. It also showed an organizational chart, and they also thanked hard members for their work. And he recognized new hires and subs and employees. That's the part I talked about earlier. But overall, the board meeting, it lasted a while, but it just hit each point. They would only expand on things that they thought were important to talk about, such as the goals for students in the classroom. The other stuff was more like just the nitpicky things, and they pretty much breezed over all that stuff. But for the most part, it was a fun experience, and it was interesting to see. So